Not even 24 hours ago, Behavior revealed that Five Nights at Freddy's is coming to Dead by Daylight. As of the time I'm recording this video, it has nearly 5 times the amount of likes as their next most popular chapter, Aliens, announcement on Twitter. This chapter is going to be the biggest chapter in the game by far. Most likely, once it drops, we're going to see the biggest influx of players this game has ever seen. I would say Dead by Daylight is going to be saved, but that would be ridiculous. DBD is fine. It'll be interesting to see how further this chapter skyrockets the game's popularity, though. However, is the DBD community ready for this chapter? I was curious as to how the YouTube circle felt about the whole thing and made a poll of my own, garnering about 1.5 thousand votes and counting. The majority of people seem excited by quite a decent chunk. Now, as we all know, people that dislike things are much more likely to be vocal, so as a result, I got some kind of funny comments. The biggest thing I often see people say against FNAF is people saying they don't want the FNAF community anywhere near the DBD community, saying they're childish. Then we'll see things like this. My dear friends, the DBD community already has so many goofy people in it. They don't even realize that they've become the very thing they hate. Alright, yeah, this is a normal person. Doesn't like the franchise, but is happy for probably DC anytime I see the killer or survivor in a match. Huh. Killer isn't even out yet. We don't know how he plays, and you're saying you'll DC every time you encounter him. I totally get DCing if a certain killer is bugged, like Trickster was, or if you're being held hostage. If you don't know, for a period of time, when Trickster would hit people with his knives, it would cause the screen to flash white. I'm not saying it's wrong to DC. You can do whatever you want. You bought the game. It just seems a little childish when the character hasn't even come out yet. On top of that, this individual mentions the survivor as well. Survivors that don't play differently at all. They're just skins. Just seems odd to me. This is far from everybody though, and there's a good amount of people that are completely normal individuals that just simply don't like the property and would rather not see it added. I think that's completely fair. But then you have people that really want to make the FNAF people upset. But something I found to be pretty funny is the people that are within the FNAF community would respond in a much nicer way than what the DBD people would say. The worst thing I saw is this individual saying the 18% of people who voted no can go to the moon. A small pet peeve of mine is whenever I see people say FNAF isn't horror. It most certainly is horror. You may not find it scary, but that doesn't mean it's not horror. Fear is subjective. The complaints with Five Nights at Freddy's really have come full circle, haven't they? Scott got criticized for making a children's game with scary characters, so he decided to make a horror game, and now people are saying it's a children's game. Kind of funny how it works like that. Obviously, I'm positive for Five Nights at Freddy's. I have been for quite a while. I will say, over the years, my excitement for this franchise has gone down. A lot of elements that I personally really liked about the series aren't as prominent anymore. A lot of the unknown factors, the animatronics having a much more uncanny vibe, now that they have been going in a very different direction, giving the animatronics much more personality, and it just doesn't really float my goat. I hate animatronics. I hate mascots. It confuses my brain and spooks me, which is why a lot of the games up until Security Breach really left an impact on me. I like being spooked, and I'm inclined to agree that jump scares aren't very scary. I'd say they're the opposite. At the moment in the game, it's almost a reliever telling you the terror is over. You can take a break. I find the actual scary parts of these games is the build-up, all of the ambient sounds, some meaning absolutely nothing, and others being direct clues to the player. The atmosphere for a lot of these games is something I really enjoy. Of course, fear is subjective, and I understand that sitting in an office for 6 minutes and just waiting isn't appealing to everybody, especially if you aren't afraid of the main threat in the title. Five Nights at Freddy's has changed so much since those early days, and of course it would. Its primary exposure was through YouTube, free entertainment that a lot of children were going to get their hands on. It makes sense that it's taken the path to appeal to as many people as it can. The movie seemed to want to blend the two different vibes, and it was fine. I don't know why that little cupcake had such a high body count, though. 2 years ago, if this was announced, I would have been bouncing off the walls. I would say I'm curious and happy, but my butt remains planted. Hopefully, he's a fun killer. Based off of the gameplay of the third game, I would assume that Springtrap will be a stealth killer, and I do love my stealth killers. There's a good chance he'll mesh well with me. And if he does, you can bet there will be a lot of gameplay of him on the channel. Thanks for watching all. Let me know if you're super eager for FNAF, or are you more excited for Dracula? which I'll definitely be covering. I cannot wait for the Prince of Darkness. Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe in the fog, friends.